Do you love brownies as much as I do? If so, this is the perfect recipe for you because these brownies are so light and fluffy and full of chocolatey goodness that you would never know they're gluten-free, refined sugar-free, and dairy-free. So let's make them. Hi, my name is Aliena and welcome to my kitchen. The first thing you're going to need for this recipe is either a blender or a food processor, and your secret ingredient to make these creamy brownies is an avocado. I have one ripe avocado that I'm going to add to my processor. Next, I'm going to add in some maple syrup, and I have a heaping 4th cup of maple syrup going in just to add a little sweetness to our brownies, along with 2 eggs, but if you are vegan, you can always substitute eggs out and use flaxseed eggs. And I also have a 4th cup of peanut butter going in, but you can also use almond butter or cashew butter, whatever is your preference on this one. And 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And now I'm just going to blend this together until it's really smooth and creamy. Now I'm going to add some of my dry ingredients in, and I have a 3/4 cup of coconut sugar going in, along with some chocolate. We can't have brownies without some chocolate. So I have 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, and you do want to make sure that this is unsweetened because some brands do like to add sugar, and for this recipe we don't want that. And I also have 1/2 cup of almond flour and 1 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now we can blend this together until everything is fully combined. Feel free to scrape down the sides as needed because sometimes things get stuck. Next, I'm adding in 1/2 cup of dark chocolate chunks. So I just had a chocolate bar and I chopped it up, and I'm going to pour this into my batter. And I like to add some nuts, but you do not have to do this. It is completely optional. But I have 1/2 cup of half chopped up pecans and half chopped up walnuts. So we have a little nut blend. And now I'm just going to give this a quick pulse. We don't want to blend this all together and lose the texture of the chocolate and the nuts. And I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I have an 8x8 dish pan that I just put some coconut oil in it to grease it. I'm just going to put that down. And I also lined it with some parchment paper so that it doesn't stick. And now we can just scoop in all that delicious brownie batter. So now we can go pop our brownies in our oven and bake them for about 25 to 30 minutes or until you insert a toothpick and it comes out clean. This next step is completely optional. You don't have to do it, but I like to top my brownies with some fresh whipped cream. And for that, I have 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of just granulated sugar to it, along with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And to make it chocolatey, I have 1 tablespoon of my cocoa powder. And I do like sifting my cocoa powder for this because cocoa powder is notoriously clumpy. And now I'm just going to blend this together for about 1 to 2 minutes until soft peaks form. And here we have our finished brownies. I did let them cool for about 10-15 minutes in the pan so that they are easier to flip out and they set up a little more. And I just ran a knife around the edges, and now we can flip our brownies out. Take our parchment paper off. And now very carefully, I flipped it back over. So now we can cut ourselves a piece of our brownie, and this looks absolutely delicious and nice and fudgy, which is what I love to see in a brownie. And I now realized my whipped cream is not dairy-free or sugar-free, but you know, you gotta have a little sugar on top. But if you don't want to use whipped cream, you can top it with some more peanut butter, ice cream, or really anything that you're craving. It's so good, so chocolatey. And you also get that little crunch from the nuts being in there and the smooth whipped cream on top. I absolutely love this dessert. I think it's so delicious. So please let me know if you try it and what you think in the comments down below. Also, if you want to see more homemade, delicious desserts, there should be a playlist right here or over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week. Bye for now. And don't forget to check back in next Sunday because we are making one of my favorite desserts. They are oatmeal chocolate bars, and they are vegan, gluten-free, and refined sugar-free, but you would never know it. So I'll see you next Sunday.